mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa akin. Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala Abu.
Heartbreak, tickets, and tears. The day although Alex Eala won a heart, the war was lost. Greetings from champions tennis once again. Only location where we don't merely observe the ball, we sense the game's pulse. If you enjoy the passion, the drama, and the unadulterated passion of tennis, smash that click the subscribe button now. Your knot will be disappointed by what we have for you right now. Today, we have a tale that is I'm going to tear out your heart and reassemble it, only to ignite it. With some of the fiercest tennis action that occurred in 2026. We're taking you from the muggy, sentimental streets of from Manila to the blazing blue hard courts of Melbourne. We have tears and a tie, breaks, and we have the type of drama behind the scenes that the tour attempts to hide. However, we must first take you to the Rizal Memorial Tennis Facility in the Philippines. Imagine the situation. It's humid. The smell permeates the air. Of food from the street and the electric anticipation of a throng in need of a hero. The first ever Philippine Women's Open is in progress, and the whole country is lusting after Alex Eala. She is the girl from the hometown who made the idol on everyone's screens. It's huge. However, beyond the opulence of the VIP gates, a distinct drama was taking place, one that the cameras nearly overlooked. Introducing Mo. He is 7 years old. He is slender and has on a t-shirt that has seen better times, and he's holding something valuable in his tiny, dusty hands. They're not toys. They're lottery tickets that have been crumpled. For 3, this young boy stood on the street for months. Corners that are selling these tickets, saving each and every penny, missing meals, all for a single dream. To purchase a ticket to see the play by Alex Eala. He observed her each night on his mom's cracked screen of a smartphone. She wasn't to him merely a tennis player. She was full of hope. She was evidence that you could be tiny and continue to rule the world. Thus, on the day of the quarterfinal, Miko approached the ticket booth, his pocket full of savings, his chest was thumping with his heart. However, his world was destroyed by the sign in the window. To put it succinctly, sold out. Can you picture that sensation? The desperation. Miko refused to give up. He approached the VIP stealthily. Gate, the bars of iron bearing down on his face. He observed the high-end vehicles, the officials, the fortunate few entering. He was displayed his unsold lottery tickets to whispering to anyone who passed by a lottery ticket, please. I just wish to watch one set of Alex. Please, but the world can be cold. A tall security guard carrying out his duties, but losing sight of the moment's humanity, pushed the boy aside. Move along, kid, he gave a grunt. Miko staggered back, almost striking the concrete. He lowered his head, the guilt burning more fiercely than the Manila sun, and the tears started to flow down his dusty cheeks. It was over, he believed. At that precise moment, Alexandra Eala was leaving at that moment. The practice courts, with her team on either side, and bodyguards, making their way to the locker space to prepare for the most important game of the competition. She was in the zone. Put on your headphones and look forward. However, then she was stopped by something. Her gaze swept over the throng outside the fence and locked onto a small person seated in the filth. Through the cacophony of the supporters yelling her name, it reached her ears. A child's sobbing voice. Alex, I sell lottery tickets in order to purchase a ticket to I Wanna Watch You, but they won't let me in. The whole group came to a halt. The bodyguards attempted to guide her ahead. We possess a schedule, Alex, but she disregarded them. Without pausing for a moment, the 49th, the world's top player, turned around and proceeded directly to the gate. The area fell silent. The journalists, acknowledging something unplanned, swung their cameras around as it was happening. The cameras didn't bother Alex. She fell to one knee on the filthy pavement directly in front of Mo. She extended a hand and carefully raised the boy's chin. She did more than simply give him a ticket. She gave him a more valuable moment. more than any Grand Slam award. She cleaned his tears and assured him that he wasn't imperceptible. It was the type of moment that serves as a reminder of why we watch athletics. It goes beyond forehands alone. And backhands. It has to do with inspiration. However, people, as endearing as that at the time, tennis is a cruel sport. Though the court is indifferent to your well-being. Actions. It is indifferent to the story. When you cross that, it's a gladiator pit with a white line. Moreover, inside that pit, waiting for Alex Eala was a merciless rival, not a fan. Osorio Camila. The story was prepared for a fairy tale. The local hero inspired by her people's love and the little Miko's inspiration for marching to the title. However, Camila Osorio didn't go through the script. This was a conflict between former champions of the US Open Junior. You have Eala, Asia's rising star, in opposition to Osorio, the fiery Colombian who has been skipping the tour for years. And believe me when I say that Osorio arrived into Manila with a single goal in mind: bringing the crowd to a halt. The game that was played at the Rizal Memorial, beneath the lights, was an attrition-based conflict. From the very beginning, you could sense the tension in the first ball. Eala was the favorite, coming in at number 49 on paper, but rankings become irrelevant when you are under the strain of an entire country on your shoulders. The beginning set was, to put it mildly, an anxious wreck. The serving experience was unsteady. Neither player was able to establish a rhythm. There was one break after another. We observed the emergence of double faults, 3 apiece by itself in the first set. It was disorganized. It was rough. It was the type of tennis in which you are competing with yourself as much as your rival. However, this is where having experience is beneficial. Osorio was ranked 84th, but performing like a veteran in the top 20, detected a blood odor in the water. Within the first set's 7th game, with the Osorio dialed as the crowd chanted Eala's name. She ceased to disappear. She began drawing the lines. She obtained a vital serve break, muffling the stadium. However, the actual dagger was the following game. Calmly, she combined the to extend the lead, break and hold serve. Games to 3-5. That was the she needed to be a part. Retaliated, however, the harm had already been done. Osorio accepted the 6-4 in the first set. The atmosphere left the stadium. You could sense the fear. Miko observing from the stands now because of Alex. It must have been holding onto his seat. The second one said it was deja vu, an exact replica of the original. Eala and Osorio kept exchanging breaks, as if they were exchanging rumors through the first 4 games. Neither female could maintain a serve. The altercation took place on the street. We made it to 4 of the 8 games played, each with 3 breaks. It had died. Even. Now was the time for Eala to take the initiative to harness that hometown energy to channel the day's feelings, but it's a heavy thing, pressure. Osorio, cool as a cucumber, hit when it most important. In the 9th match, she released a torrent of profound returns. Eala was pushed onto her back foot. Breakpoint, the pivotal moment in the match. Osorio served for the game after converting 5-4. Osorio didn't blink. She distributed it using the assurance of a victor, sealing the match 64-64. The dream had ended. The fairy tale came to an end in the quarterfinals. Let's examine the figures since they describe how Eala lost this match. It was very near. On the winners of the 2nd serve were dead, even at 50. Thus, when the rally began, they were matched on a neutral ball. However, the distinction, the initial serve, Osorio was just more productive. 59 of her first serve points were converted into victorious teams. Eala had trouble at 51. That 8 difference in an inches game is the gap between success and losing. Osorio was more tidy, sharper, and as the pressure increased, she was the someone who carried out the execution. Alex Eala was kind, despite the heartache in defeat. Saying importing but not Puma 9 SA level, I'm in Manila SA Pilipinas Nandito on. She told the media that WTA was fighting back. I sincerely hope you all get to cry once more. I hope to be motivated and develop the love for tennis. I love tennis so much that it grows. I feel incredibly fortunate to be able to share this encounter and this voyage with all of. She's now acting very classy. traveling to the WTA 500 Abu Dhabi Open, and you'd better think she's heading to return without food. Regarding Osorio, she continues to confront Salana Sierra in the semifinals. However, as Manila was drowning in Melbourne was drenched in perspiration and tears, as well as drama. We're at the commercial end of the Australian Open in 2026. Additionally, if you believed that the drama was restricted to the you are completely incorrect, Philippines. We have locked in our women's final, which is a blockbuster. It's a rematch of the 2023 Classic. Fire and ice are at odds. It is Elena Rybakina versus Aryna Sabalenka. However, the journey there was completely torture. In particular, for Jessica Pegula. Jessica, the billionaire's daughter who has been attempting to shake away from the quarterfinals curse for years. At last, she advanced to the semifinals. She was having a great game of tennis. She was awake. Against the Ice Queen, Elena Rybakina herself. The majority of this match was one way. Traffic until it wasn't. Rybakina, the Pegula, the 5th seed, was in control. The 6th seed. She made the initial 6 games to 3 in the set. She had a match. 3 match points on points, plural the serve of Pegula. It appeared finished and dusted, but the wheels then began to sway. Normally so stoic, Rybakina got tight. The match points were missed by her. Serving for the game, she then received shattered twice. The audience was moving crazy. Pegula was scratching her way back from the afterlife. Occasionally, when you're on the verge of losing everything, you receive a little clarity because you're somewhat like, screw it. I'm simply going to Pegula. Later remarked, try and stay in this. And she did stay in it. They visited the second set's tiebreaker. And people, this was more than just a tiebreaker. It was a thriller with a psychological bent. Pegula possessed 2 fixed points. She was about to making a decision. Rybakina acknowledged later she was experiencing flashbacks to the Australian Open in 2024. Do you recall that? When she lost that historic 22-20 Anna Blinkova's tiebreak, the longest throughout Grand Slam history, she was witnessing ghosts. Extremely stressful, Rybakina remarked. It was evident in her eyes. Champions, however, managed to do so. Following 29 exhausting minutes since her debut match point, Rybakina at last clinched it. 76 in the second tiebreaker. She made it out alive. No, I'm proud regardless of the circumstances. It became extremely tight. I remained there. It wasn't, she claimed. Lovely, but it was a victory. Conversely, it was pure power on the draw's side. The world, the tiger, and Aryna Sabalenka first completely destroyed Elena Svitolina. The Ukrainian Svitolina warrior has been the sentimental favorite while representing her nation, pretending to be a mother. However, Sabalenka, she was not feeling sentimental. She defeated Svitolina 62-63. It was in master class in aggressive tennis. She is now just 1 victory away from Sabalenka. 3rd victory at the Australian Open in 4 years. People, that is dominance. That is a future dynasty. Thus, the stage is scheduled for Saturday. Sabalenka in contrast to Rybakina. Do you recall the 2023 final? After a setback, Sabalenka returned to win her first major. It was a slugfest. Rybakina still remembers. She defeated Sabalenka at the November WTA finals to obtain that unprecedented $5.2 million paycheck, so she is confident in her ability to succeed. It's Rybakina described it as a great battle. That final in 2023. Ultimately, she performed a little better, and it was well worth it. I hope to enjoy the final. I can provide better service than I did today. She will have to provide better service. If she provides Sabalenka with the opportunities she given Pegula, this final will conclude in an hour. Why this matchup is so what's interesting is that S doesn't play like the young player was intimidated at the time. He enters the court with the conviction that he can win, and he has the game to support it. He has a weapon in his forehand. His motion is outstanding and has demonstrated his ability to manage pressure. Djokovic will put him to the test. In every manner conceivable, both physically and both strategically and mentally. He will make him play additional balls. He'll alter the rhythm. He will take advantage of any vulnerability. However, if he can stay, If S can match him aggressive and confident in his abilities, he has a genuine opportunity to progress. The alternative Alcaraz and Zverev's semifinal also carries a lot of weight. Alcaraz, the Spanish talent who has already achieved significant victories over Zverev, the German who has been pounding on the door for years. Zverev has visited Grand Slam finals previously, but it hasn't broken through. He has enough skill to succeed. Can he, however, withstand the pressure? Alcaraz, despite his youth, he has already demonstrated that thrives during significant events. He engages in play with happiness, freedom, and an assaulting style that is amazing to observe. Should he and Center both prevail in their semifinals, we might have a championship game that symbolizes the actual transformation of the guard in tennis for men. However, let's not disregard the doubles tournaments. The wheelchair competitions, the junior competitions, all taking place concurrently at Melbourne Park. The Australian Open is a huge event, showcasing all levels of tennis. The narratives extend beyond the marquee games on the center court. There are competitors vying for employment, veterans competing in their final competitions, Grand Slam experiences for young athletes playing tennis for the first time. Every one of them has a dream, a journey, and a story. The tennis's business side is also changing quickly. Prize money is still rise following the Australian Open payouts that are unprecedented this year. Sponsorship agreements are growing in size, especially for the elite players who surpass the sport and become worldwide brands. The streaming landscape is changing how fans consume tennis with more options than ever to watch matches. Social media has provided players with direct access to their followers, enabling them to build personal brands independent of traditional media. But with all this growth is accompanied by difficulties. The tour schedule is grueling, with players expected to compete nearly year-round if they want to maintain their rankings. Injuries are common, burnout is real, and the mental health toll is significant. The sport is having important conversations about how to make the tour more sustainable, how to protect player welfare while also meeting the demands of tournaments, sponsors, and fans. The emergence of Saudi Arabia as a major player in tennis funding is controversial. The introduction of big-money exhibition events has created tension, with some players criticizing the sport's washing aspect, while others argue that the funding is helping grow the game. It's a complex issue without easy answers, and it's one that will continue to generate debate in the tennis community. Technology is also changing the game. Hawkeye has been a staple for years, but now we're seeing even more sophisticated analytics, biomechanical analysis, and training tools. Players have access to data about their opponents that previous generations could never have imagined. The serve patterns, the preferred shot selections, the tendencies under pressure, it's all quantifiable now. However, tennis remains fundamentally a human endeavor. All the data in the world can't replace heart, determination, and the ability to perform when it matters most. As we look ahead to the rest of the season, the clay court swing will be fascinating. Roland Garros is always special, and this year's edition could be wide open. Can Alcaraz defend his title? Will Djokovic add to his record? Can someone from the next generation break through? The women's draw at the French Open is equally unpredictable. Swiatek is the favorite on clay, but we've seen upsets before. The red dirt rewards patience, strategy, and mental toughness. It's a different test than the hard courts of Melbourne. Wimbledon will follow, bringing its own unique pressures and traditions. The grass courts favor big servers and players who can volley, creating matchups and styles we don't see as much on other surfaces. Then comes the hard court summer, culminating in the US Open in New York. Each Grand Slam has its own character, its own challenges, its own champions. But right now, in this moment, we're focused on Melbourne and Manila. We're thinking about Mo in the stands, watching his hero battle, even if she couldn't get the win. We're thinking about Pegula's heartbreak, Raina's relief, Sabalenka's dominance. We're thinking about Coco's tears in the tunnel and the debate about privacy and access. We're thinking about Djokovic's quest for one more title, Sinner's hunger to prove himself, and all the storylines that make tennis endlessly compelling. This is why we watch. Not just for the winners, though we celebrate them. Not just for the perfect shots, though we marvel at them. We're watched for the full spectrum of human experience on display. The triumph and the heartbreak, the kindness and the competition, the moments of grace and the moments of struggle. Tennis gives us all of it, distilled into a contest played out on a rectangular court with a net in the middle. Alex Eala will have more chances. She's young, she's talented, and she's proven she has the heart of a champion. The loss in Manila hurts, but it's not the end of her narrative. It's just a chapter. She'll learn from it, grow from it, and come back stronger. That's what champions do. Osorio earned her victory through superior play in the key moments, and she deserves credit for maintaining her composure in a hostile environment. Both players showed us something valuable about the nature of competition and the resilience required to succeed at this level. As the Australian Open reaches its climax and players around the world prepare for the next event, we're reminded that tennis never stops. The tour moves on. The rankings shift. New stars emerge while veterans fade. However, the essence of the sport remains constant. Two players, a ball, a court, and the eternal question of who wants it more on that particular day. Everything else, the rankings, the prize money, the fame, it all flows from that fundamental contest of skill and will. Thus, here we are coming to the end of a remarkable week. When playing tennis, we've wept, we've laughed, we've been motivated and disappointed. We have witnessed the finest of a 7-year-old boy's dream about humanity and the generosity of a champion. We've observed the brutality of rivalry when dreams pass away in the quarterfinals. We've discussed access and privacy. We've been astounded by athletic prowess. Additionally, we've been reminded of the reasons we fell in love with this gorgeous, harsh, merciless, motivating athletics in the first place. I wish to speak with you all in the remarks. Was Alex Eala's time spent with you've never witnessed better sportsmanship than Miko this year, or are you concentrating on the tennis? The winner of the Australian Open final? Is Rybakina able to exact revenge? Or does Sabalenka solidify her dynasty? How about the men? Can Heartbreak at last? Successful against Djokovic? Alternatively, does the elderly monarch has one more masterpiece in him? After an amazing year last year, Alex, how does it feel to be creating your primary make-a-draw debut with Melbourne? It feels fantastic. I'm ecstatic. Well, startled and thrilled Abu Dhabi.